Hi folks, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at installing Ubuntu, which is a Linux distribution on Windows 11 using the Windows subsystem for Linux. So the first thing we've got to do is actually install the Windows subsystem for Linux on Windows. So to do that, you can click on your Start button in Windows, and I find it easier to just search for the word features, and if you spell it correctly, it might work a little better. So if you search for feature, and then you'll see you have turn Windows features on or off. So if we select that, we'll get our Windows feature list. Now there's a whole heap of different things that we can install in here. Most of them will be won't be used by most people, but if we scroll down to the bottom, we'll see we now have this Windows subsystem for Linux. We can select that, click on OK, and then that'll go through, download the required files for the Windows subsystem. It will install it, and then it'll ask us to restart our machine. So I'll quickly restart, and then once we're back up and running, I'll jump back in and we can go through the next step. Okay, so our PC's now restarted. Now we can go back into our features and see that our subsystem is installed. Yes. Now, if we run a command prompt, and we can use some basic Windows subsystem commands, so we can type WSL --list, and that'll tell us that the Windows subsystem for Linux has no installed distributions. So we can install them by going to the Microsoft Store. So if we open the Store app, we can either search directly for the Linux distribution that we want, in this case Ubuntu, or we can search for Linux, or you could search for WSL for Windows subsystem for Linux. There's a whole heap of different Linux distributions that you can use. So you can have Kali Linux, which is a security testing platform. There's Debian, but the one we want is Ubuntu. Now this, based on when I looked at it last time, if we scroll down, looks like it'll install the 20.04 version, which is a long-term release version. So if we click on Get, and now it's pending, it's downloading. It's about 500 meg download, as you can see, which will come down fairly quickly, depending on your internet speed, of course. It installs and it's ready to go. So if we click on Open now, it'll open up and it starts installing the Ubuntu Linux machine. And fairly shortly it should come up and ask us to add a username and password for this Linux installation. Okay, so here it says, please create a default Linux user account. So we'll just call this Simon, and we'll give it a strong password. And there we go. So we now have a Ubuntu Linux installation running within our Windows environment. So you can do all the things that you can do on a normal Linux implementation. You can see folders and the standard Linux implementation. So you can use this now for installing any kind of tools, any development tools, any servers that you might want to use for a local development environment, or anything like that. In a future video, we'll look at setting up Redis cache to be used as a development tool. So thank you for watching this video.